Jishi.
So, it is the end of our time in China. Yay. So we thought we would give our kind of tips and, I suppose, survival wisdom on getting through a holiday or backpacking around China. So to start with our itinerary, we began in Beijing. We had a few days there, and then we travelled to Xi'an, which is Xi'an, to the Terracotta Warriors. From there we travelled to Shanghai to Zhangjiajie National Park, then to Guilin, and we're currently in Kunming now to get our flight to Laos in the morning. So our top attractions.
So in Beijing, we went and saw Tiananmen Square. You go to Tiananmen Square, there's not a huge amount to see actually in the square, and it takes quite a lot of time to get through the masses and masses of security that they have there. You've got to have your passport with you. They will not allow you really anywhere without it.
We learnt the hard way.
Yeah. In the square, there is Mao's mausoleum, which we chose not to go and see. And there were big queues, and there's kind of priority given to tour groups. So if you're an independent traveller, don't be surprised if you find it very frustrating even trying to get into Tiananmen Square, because there's only certain entrances that you can't use. There is no information available to you as a tourist. Even the Tourist Information Centre had absolutely nothing in it. So it's a bit of a kind of trial and error thing, but don't expect to get anywhere very fast.
That was Beijing,
Forbidden
City, which was amazing.
Yeah, really cool. But again, not a lot of information in there. You have to have your passport to get in, and there's just lots of it, and it's quite hard to know where to go and which bits to kind of see, because it's just is there. But it's very cool, worth doing it.
And walking in Beijing is exhausting. I don't know why, but it's such a big city, and distances look really small, but they're actually...
It's because you can't walk directly to anywhere. You've got to go around the security gates, you've got to go under the subway. To go through a subway, so an underpass under a road, they're often linked into the actual subway network, which means that you have to go through security checks. So you have to put your bag through the security check, you then have to walk all the way through the railings. You don't actually want to buy tickets, then you have to go through the exit section. You then come back out the other side. It hasn't taken you out onto the side of the road you wanted to be on. You then got to try and cross the road. It goes...
This is just to cross the road, so you're basically being searched every time you cross the road in Beijing.
It's good.
Anyway, we then went to the Great Wall, which we thoroughly recommend. In some of our other blogs we've talked about how we got there, but I would recommend going up to Tiananmen Square, getting a tourist bus. It's about £9 each to get there. It includes your entry ticket, but make sure you stay on the bus till the guide gives you the entry ticket, unlike us. We kind of missed that bit of information and bought a separate entry ticket. So it's really good value. You can try and get the train, but apparently it's a massive crush and it's quite complicated. So go to Tiananmen Square, get the tourist bus, and it's super easy. You don't need to pay for these expensive tours because it's pretty self-explanatory when you're there. It was definitely worth doing.
Yeah.
It took us about 2 hours each way from Beijing, so you need the full day for it. Travelling to Chan, Terracotta Warriors, you have to do it. That's pretty much the only thing that's there.
Yeah, make sure you know which bus you want to get on to. So the bus station is next to Xi'an train station. We'd already checked which bus we wanted, and I think it was a 306.
Open brackets, 5 closed brackets.
Open brackets, closed brackets. There are lots of people outside the train station trying to get you to go on their tours or direct you onto certain buses. If you want to do that, that's absolutely fine. There is a tourist bus that is a little bit more of a kind of luxury coach. We didn't get that. We chose to get the little kind of basic bus. It's probably a little bit slower and probably a little bit less comfortable, but I think it cost us something like £1.20 to get there, and it is about an hour out of Xi'an. When you get to the Terracotta Warriors place, there is a massive car park that you've got to get your way through. But then it's signposted to the entrance. There's the standard security checks, queue for your tickets, get your tickets, and then there are loads and loads of tour guides all over the place trying to get your business. If you want to have a tour guide, there are plenty of English-speaking ones, and the internet said that they are good, but they're not really necessary.
You don't need it. You really
No.
don't. It's the signs in there, and it's an expensive enough attraction anyway. I think it's like £15 each.
Mm.
Maybe
Probably.
slightly.
I
Yeah,
think
it was quite expensive. So, but you have to do it. There is no food there.
No food in the actual area. On your way out, there's loads of little
There's
restaurants,
loads.
and there is a huge kind of souvenir shop area that probably took us almost as long to walk through as it did to actually see the Terracotta Warrior stuff.
But the food's expensive
Yeah, it was.
and not very good.
No.
Moving from Shan to, you need 1 day there maximum, I'd say.
Yeah. Apparently there is a lot going. There's a huge history to Zhang because it's part of the Silk Road, but it was a pretty dirty city. It wasn't a place we wanted to hang around.
No. So from Shanghai, definitely put it on your itinerary. It's really, really cool. It's very Western, but it is just shops.
Yeah.
It's very clean.
Very clean, very modern, by far and away the most Western place that we went to. They talked a lot about the kind of colonial history, and Shanghai is very interesting for that, but there's not a lot of evidence of it. There are a few they kept on talking about the French boulevards, and those are not French boulevards, they're just tree-lined streets that have now got shopping centres.
We're
on every
spoiled
side.
with what we have in Europe and how accessible it is. But it's very clean, the bun's pretty impressive, but it did rain a lot when we were there, so we unfortunately didn't get to see it at night all lit up. But it was still pretty.
Do the open top bus tour.
Yeah.
Is a really good way of seeing the place, and also it has English audio. You can get on and off anywhere you want. There are 3 different routes that cover pretty much the whole of central Shanghai. So you can see the business district, you can see the shopping area, you can see the kind of they try to sell it as the kind of temple section, but there was only really one temple and it was shops. And that was
£9.
Yeah, we got a discount in the hostel, so it only worked out as £9 each.
So it's even worth doing if you don't want to do the tour, because it's
just
the
use it
cost
as your
of getting
transport.
around.
Yeah, so that was really good.
Shanghai, we travelled to Zhangjiajie National Park, so this is where the Avatar kind of inspiration came from, with the stone casts. So kind of like long, fingery rock formations. The national park itself is incredible, but it is ridiculously expensive to get in. It's £25 each just to get in.
But that pass does last you 4 days.
Yeah.
So it is designed as a long-term
But you
kind of
wouldn't.
entry.
I think you'd get bored. I don't think there's 4 days worth of
there
stuff to
isn't.
do. And then any attractions within the park, they're making it almost Disneyland. Like they've got like a train, they've got an elevator, they've got a cable car, and that's just money every time you want to use it. And that was an expensive day out. And
Expensive for China.
Yeah. Zhangjiajie city itself is a shithole.
Yeah, it's not the best.
It's horrible. Zhangjiajie to Guilin. Guilin was beautiful. We ended up befriending people from the local yoga class, basically. So we didn't do as much sightseeing maybe as we should have done, but instead we got to learn more about Chinese culture, and they took us to some amazing places for food. And kind of in Guilin city, you can see a lot of the beautiful mountains and hills around. If you want to go down to the more scenic kind of river, it's 85 kilometres away, so it's quite a distance. And the tours around there are really, again, quite pricey. It's like 40 quid to go on a boat tour, and it's an all-day activity. People at the station, when you get there, if you're worried about tours or whatever, there's people trying to sell you all sorts at the station, but hotels seem to be doing a better price on it. So that's our itinerary and kind of our top attractions. Transportation. We used a company recommended by a man in seat 61, and they were called China Travel DIY, and they booked all of our train tickets. Not only did they book them all, they helped us put together our itinerary. They sent us hugely detailed instructions, including YouTube videos of how to get the tickets. They then send you kind of confirmation for each ticket with everything written down in Chinese for you to show the taxi driver how to get to the station, what to do if you miss your train, what to do if there's a problem with your tickets. They were fantastic. I would thoroughly recommend. I think they charge something like $10 per ticket you buy as their commission, but it's worth it. And Chinese people were kind of asking us how we even got on the train, how we managed to buy the tickets, because they struggle. So definitely do that. Subways are a pain in the ass because you need to have small notes, and it seems to vary from each subway station.
Yeah.
And you get searched every time, so you need to allow a lot of time to make a journey because,
and also they have the subway stations are often linked into shopping centres, and the shopping centres don't have any signs in them, so they're very hard to then get out of, and you often end up coming out of the shopping centre not entirely sure where you are now on the street. So it's not entirely straightforward even getting on and off the trains. Shanghai has a subway app that you can use that worked even without Wi-Fi. That was actually pretty useful and was quite straightforward, but not the best.
Buses are super cheap, and as long as you can do your research online beforehand, they seem to work. And the bus driver would always tell us where we needed to get off. So sometimes we'd try and get off and he'd be like, no, wait. And they worked. Taxis, the prices vary from province to province and city to city. I read quite a lot about taxi drivers screwing you over, and you've got to be really careful, but they were all
so we made sure that we always used an official taxi. So when you come out of a train station or an airport, there is the taxi rank. The taxi rank is kind of run by, they look like they might be police. They're certainly officials in uniform. They will get you into the taxi. They will check that the taxi driver is going where you think they're supposed to be going. And all the taxis we used a meter. They have a small kind of receipt printout thing, which you can see at the start. It has a start price on it, and then they press a button and the receipt half prints to show that the journey has started. So if you're not sure what's going on, just kind of point at the kind of dashboard thing where there should be a very obvious meter going. We had no problems with that, but as you come out of the train station or the airport, there are people offering you taxis who are obviously not licensed cabs, so just don't use them.
And research the price of the taxi before, or I emailed all the hotels just so that we knew if...
But they were very cheap.
Yeah, they were really cheap. Today we kind of had a 55-minute journey, including tolls, and it came to 13 quid or something, so that's all good. Food. If you're vegan and vegetarian, it is not that bad.
If you do some research.
If you do some research, and if you like oily food. Yeah, you have to have Google Translate. You have to be prepared to walk into place after place after place and just ask what they can do. Most people are really accommodating. A lot of people don't understand it.
No.
If in doubt, find a temple.
Yeah. Every single restaurant in China obviously does rice, and the vast majority do some form of vegetable dish as well. The problem is explaining to them that you just want some rice and vegetables, or you would just like whatever particular thing they do without them adding whatever the meat or the fish to it. They're not used to people asking them for vegetarian or vegan options. When we used Happy Cow, we found some fantastic places. In Guilin, I ate a fantastic kind of Buddhist restaurant. We then, with our Chinese friends, went to 2 other fantastic places that did really good vegan food. In Beijing, we found a massive vegan restaurant just by chance. So it does exist. You've just got to have a bit of a look around for it, and don't be surprised if the first few restaurants look at you very blankly.
The best bet is, if you're out and about, go to a department store and find the food court.
Yeah. And
they tend to have like trays of steamed vegetables or steamed rice or a tofu curry or something like that, and it's cheap. And if you're absolutely desperate, you resort to McDonald's.
Yeah.
But you could just get chips. They don't have vegetarian burgers or vegan burgers, and they have hot sweet corn.
Yeah. But food is cheap in China.
Yeah.
So it's not a problem going out and finding a meal. We went and ate this evening, and we had 2 dishes with rice, and it cost us £3.60.
Yeah. It's just oily and salty.
Yeah. That's Chinese food.
Yeah. So I suppose to finish, our survival tips: make sure you have Google Translate downloaded on your phone. You will need to use it all the time.
And the great thing with the Google Translate app is that you can use it both as in writing text, so you can ask questions, but you can also use the camera function on it, so you can hold it over the Chinese text, and most of the time it picks up what it says and gives you some kind of rough translation. So even checking a product to see whether or not it's got milk or dairy in it, it's quite easy to use that just to kind of work out exactly what's going on.
Yeah, and it
But we
actually
found
works
it-
over packets and stuff.
Yeah.
'Cause, like the bread here, they seem to add a lot of egg and milk to it.
Mm-hmm.
Google Translate works, but any other Google products do not work. So I really struggled with my Gmail, where all my bookings were. I wasn't expecting the email to not work. Search engine changes that search to Bing when you get here, and then you can search for anything. You can't kind of, use Google search. YouTube doesn't work, Instagram doesn't work, Facebook doesn't work, Facebook Messenger doesn't work. WhatsApp, we've had limited success. Sometimes it will work, sometimes it won't work. My wee video editing software does work, and I can blog, but I don't think you can.
Don't know. So all the hotels that we stayed in all had Wi-Fi access.
Yeah.
There was no issues there. If you're in public spaces that advertise that they have Wi-Fi, it tends not to actually work on your phone.
Unless you've got a Chinese SIM
unless
card.
you've got a Chinese SIM card, or you've got some kind of, you've done something clever to your phone.
So when you're out, if you go out for the day, you need to have photos of everything you think you'll need, like maps or bus routes.
Screenshots of everything you need for that. And that was the other really useful thing that we did before going to the next hotel or the next kind of destination, having the name in Chinese as a screenshot on our phone, maybe even a couple of maps as well, because you need to show that to the taxi driver. Most of the time that worked really well.
Yeah.
There were a few occasions where the taxi driver, obviously the translation didn't quite work, but we got there in the end and it was okay.
So that is our quick roundup of China. Would you come back?
I am not coming back to China because I've seen the things that are in China, and unfortunately the people in China are not that nice in general. And we've met some fantastic people, but the vast majority of really nice people that we've met are not really Chinese. They are people who are either from Hong Kong or Macau, or they are Chinese nationals who've actually spent a lot of time travelling outside of the country. China itself is nowhere near as developed